From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 4th, 2020. A Palestinian man said to be a member of the Palestinian Authority's security services opened fire on Israeli soldiers today in the West Bank and was shot and killed. The IDF shared video of the lieutenant colonel who leads the IDF's Golani unit that was shot at, explaining what happened. And the IDF also tweeted that IDF soldiers who were at a military post near the southern exit of the city of Nablus responded with fire after a terrorist armed with a pistol arrived from the direction of the city and shot at them from his vehicle. The terrorist was said to be 29 years old and a legal advisor with the rank of captain in the Palestinian Preventative Security Forces. No Israeli soldiers were hurt. Well, as we await results from the presidential election here in the U.S., some reported Jewish winners in congressional races to tell you about. Democrat Lois Frankel is said to have won re-election in her South Florida House district against Republican Laura Loomer, who is also Jewish. A former mayor of West Palm Beach, Frankel is also co-chair of the Democratic Women's Caucus. Democrat Kathy Manning won a congressional seat in North Carolina, beating out Republican Lee Haywood. Manning was the first woman to chair the Jewish Federations of North America from 2009 to 2012. Israeli-born Meirav Ben-David was projected to have lost to Republican Cynthia Lummis for a Senate seat in Wyoming. Ben-David is an ecology professor at the University of Wyoming and a climate activist. She had been the first Israeli to win a major party nomination for a Senate seat. The New York Police Department is investigating a hate crime in Bklyn. Yeshiva World News reports that residents of an apartment building in the Hasidic community of Williamsburg found several of their doors defaced with hateful anti-Semitic messages and several mezuzahs defaced as well this past Sunday night. Security camera footage from the area is being analyzed. The Anti-Defamation League's New York, New Jersey Regional Director Scott Richmond called the vandalism absolutely repugnant. The NYPD Hate Crimes Task Force is investigating, and the NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline is open for anyone with information. And in Florida, local station Fox 4 reports that neo-Nazi posters were found over the weekend on the campus of the state's Gulf Coast University. The posters read, "Hitler is right." President Mike Martin released a statement saying, to be clear, this is an anathema to the values, standards, and conduct of our university community. If the responsible parties are discovered to be associated with the school, he said, that association will end immediately. If we discover this is the work of outsiders, we will send the unambiguous warning they are not welcome on this campus. Please all stay safe and care for one another. The local ADL there tweeted it was disgraceful to see the posters, writing, "We appreciate the statement from the university president condemning this and affirming that their campus is no place for anti-Semitism and hate." The United Arab Emirates state-owned low-cost airline Fly Dubai will start flying to Tel Aviv at the end of the month. Twice-daily flights between Tel Aviv and Dubai will begin on November the 26th. The airline CEO Gaith Al-Gaith said following the recent bilateral agreement, referring there to the Abraham Accords, the start of scheduled flights will contribute to economic development and create further opportunities for investment in pursuit of our shared interests and values. With the start of services, he said, there will be the option for increased accessibility to the UAE as well as onwards to the Indian Ocean, Far East, and Africa, reducing total journey times by several hours. Well, today, November the 4th, 2020, marks 25 years since the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. The Hebrew date of the anniversary was marked in Israel this past week. Jewish organizations remembered the leader who was gunned down at a peace rally in Tel Aviv on November the 4th of 1995 by a right-wing Jewish extremist. CEO of the American Jewish Committee David Harris tweeted a photo of Rabin with the leaders of Jordan and of the U.S. at the time, marking the Israel-Jordan Peace Treaty, just a year prior to Rabin's murder. Recalling Jordan's King Hussein eulogized, Rabin had courage, he had vision, and he had a commitment to peace. With President Clinton eulogizing, Rabin lived the history of Israel. His spirit must live on in us. Harris wrote, yes, it must. The Conference of Presidents of major American Jewish organizations leaders Arthur Stark, William Daroff, and Malcolm Hoenlein wrote that a quarter century after his life was tragically cut short, in death he has become a symbol of the hope for true and lasting peace in the Middle East. He would surely be encouraged by the immense progress made in recent months toward peace and reconciliation between Israel and her former foes. As Prime Minister Rabin said at the White House after signing the first Oslo Accords, the conference leaders quoted, "Let us pray that a day will come when we all will say farewell to the arms." May we see his fervent prayers answered, the conference leaders wrote, in our time. And some special programming tonight for you in memory and honor of the late Prime Minister. At 7:30, Israeli director Yaron Zilberman discusses his film Incitement, which tells of Rabin's assassination. And then at 8, it's a remembrance by the Jewish community on the 20th anniversary of Rabin's murder. In other programming tonight for Wednesday, November the 4th, at 7 o'clock, author Daphne Merkin reads excerpts from her romantic novel, 22 Minutes of Unconditional Love, and discusses themes of the book in a series produced for Jewish Book Month by the Hampton Synagogue with Rabbi Avraham Bronstein. And at 9 tonight, Mark Golub speaks with Israeli musical superstar David Broza, who discusses his first all-instrumental album, En Casa Limon. At 10 o'clock, a celebration of the Israel Philharmonic. And coming up next, it's Thinking Out Loud, where Micah Halpern discusses the Abraham Accords between the UAE and Israel. And that's the JBS News Update for Wednesday, November the 4th, 2020. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy. Stay well.